Who's ready for a whodunit? The Netflix adaptation of Harlan Coben's mysteries continue to roll out, and this time it's gone for good, and it's set in France. Will you be watching? 10 years after the tragic death of his brother and ex-girlfriend, a young man's lover disappears suddenly, leading him on a search for all the truths that have been hidden from him. Okay, so this is going to be spoiler-free because it is a mystery, and I would love for you to experience the same intrigue I did. Also, if you care about Munchies and want to hear about some new ones that I found, stick around to the very end. Guillaume is a social worker in his 30s who has had tragedy in his past. During his mother's funeral, his lover gets a mysterious phone call and she has to leave and then doesn't return. Guillaume follows clues to see where she could have gone, which then uncovers other mysteries he thought were resolved. This is a quick limited series. It's only 5 episodes and each of those are only about 50 minutes long. The story moves along pretty quickly as well. I do think there is one episode that is interesting from a character standpoint, but not necessarily important to the central plot. Each of the episodes focuses on a particular character, giving us insight into their lives and, more importantly, into their past, which greatly influences their current motivations. The episode that I thought was a little more filler than necessary focused on Guillaume's boss, Deco. I think his character arc is powerful, especially given the growth that we witness, but it doesn't really contribute to the mystery and the journey that Guillaume is on. That being said, there are still portions within the episode that do keep progressing the narrative forward, so it's not like you can skip it and not notice. I was drawn into the characters. They're all flawed, making them layered and complex. And I think their motivations make sense too. So when we see actions, they make sense in accordance with what we've seen in their personalities and their backgrounds. As far as the mystery goes, I was stumped, which I loved. There's nothing worse than figuring out who and why early on and then having to suffer through to the end to just confirm you're right. I had guesses, but mainly I was trying to work the clues to try and beat the story to its conclusion. As more and more unfolded, there were definite portions that I just didn't expect. And even if I did have some suspicions on certain characters, I was completely in the dark about guessing the motivations. The story is fairly tragic, and there are a few scenes that shocked me with the violence. One in particular is meant to have a palpable effect on us, which I think it did. I mean, when we're watching, we winced and yelled at the TV in shock at what was happening. It was brief, but it was also terrible. And there are a couple of characters that kind of get sidelined, and I thought they'd have a larger prominence to the story. One is Guillaume's sister. She's in the first 2 episodes and then pretty much just disappears. The other is the little sister of Guillaume's ex-girlfriend that had died 10 years earlier. She's mildly important to the story, and I do like her resolution at the end, but I think more visual importance was placed on her than was necessary, especially when she doesn't add a ton to the story. Those are nitpicks and really the only faults that come to mind as I watched. I was invested in the mystery and became hooked in Guillaume's pursuit to find the truth. He's a likable character even when he's flawed. His charisma and pureness shine through, making him a protagonist that we really want to root for. The settings are beautiful as the scenes transition from Nice, France, to the countrysides of Barcelona and the coast of Sardinia, Italy. This is also then contrasted with some grittier sides of Nice where Guillaume works with street kids. It gives us that dichotomy of wealth and poverty, showing us how the two worlds intersect. So if you're familiar with Harlan Coben's adaptations, more often than not, the storytelling follows a back and forth formula. We'll watch characters interact in the present, and then we'll have scenes that flash back a number of years to clue us into events that shape current motivations and behaviors. I enjoyed the way this was executed in the series. I didn't ever feel like I was getting whiplash from transitioning too quickly, and I felt like the storytelling flowed well, interweaving the past and present to create a compelling drama. So overall, I had a lot of fun with Gone for Good. The mystery and intrigue kept me engaged and guessing. The characters are complex enough to be compelling, but also simple enough to have some relatability. The 5 episodes went by quickly, but didn't feel like the story was being rushed to get us to a conclusion. There's no sex or nudity, a lot of profanity, and some violence. I give Gone for Good 4 out of 5 couches. Okay, so I've got 2 munchies for you today. One is Mango Pepsi, and I was pretty unsure about this purchase when I picked it up because I'm not a huge mango fan. Now, when you drink this, the smell is certainly stronger than the taste. And to me, it almost has this peachy rather than a strong mango smell to it. And even though the scent is stronger than the flavor, you can still taste the fruitiness in there, that mango-ish. So overall, it wasn't a terrible thing to drink, but I'm not going to be picking up any more of it. If I'm going to go with a flavored dark soda, I'm sticking with vanilla Coke or cherry Pepsi. Now the other munchie came from a recommendation from one of you, and these are Blue Heat Takis. Now, I love blue stuff, Blue foods have a certain taste to them, and for the most part, if I hear that a snack or candy is blue, I can pretty much count on it having some berry-ish flavor. That's not the case here. These are rolled tortilla chips covered in a blue powder. Now, I love spicy foods, but these aren't particularly spicy. I mean, yeah, there is a little bit of heat to them, but overall, Flaming Hot Cheetos are much spicier. The flavor, though, is oddly satisfying, but only in small doses. There's this tanginess to them that kind of overpowers everything else, and I think that takes away from the heat. So while these are okay, and I am grateful for the recommendation, they're just not going to be in a regular rotation of Munchies for me. I'm going to stick with my Flaming Hot Cheetos or Flaming Hot Nacho Doritos as my go-to spicy snacks. So do you have a favorite Harlan Coben story? Has it been adapted into a miniseries? What's one that you would like to see Netflix adapt next? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me. Yeah, not bad, but see, I don't know if you can see that from here. Blue junk, like I smashed a Smurf in between my fingers, is on there. But overall, not horrible.